Cheers, guys. Epix911, welcome to the Elitist Geek. In this video, I want to talk about taking your immersion experience to the next level in virtual reality. I've had a lot of people, ask me directly or talk about in the comments how to prevent from constantly taking yourself out of the immersive experience when you're playing a cockpit game. And what I mean by that is you've got certain stuff that's mapped to your joystick, and then you've got certain stuff that's mapped to your keyboard, right? And with the head-mounted display on your head, you're not seeing an awful lot of your keyboard. And, okay, if you're a touch typist, you have a slight advantage, but trust me, there's going to be keys you fumble with, right? And having to constantly take off the HMD to spy your keyboard and hit the key ruins the immersion. And it was the same thing I struggled with at first. In this video, we're going to talk about an application called Voice Attack, which when paired with the right control set, just takes your virtual reality experience to the next level. Whether that's the Oculus Rift, whether it's the HTC Vive, it doesn't matter, right? The HOTAS, and again, that's hands-on stick and throttle, that I used initially is this Thrustmaster 4 from Thrustmaster. It's a PlayStation 4/PC HOTAS stick, right? And you should see a couple of different angles. So I've got the one camera angle on desk, and then the camera angle that you guys are seeing through the webcam. It was fine. There was a small aspect of it. It kind of always felt like a toy. Good, but kind of like a toy, right? So what I did to make it a little heavier is I put Velcro on the bottom, Velcro strips, and you can just pick up a Velcro patch kit, from Home Depot for maybe $3-4, right? Mount these to your desktop pretty much in the same position as your on-screen avatar. So if you're playing Digital Combat Simulator and you're flying in a jet or a Cessna or an elite spaceship, put them roughly in the same spot as your avatar. It just completely adds to the immersion. When you look down and what you feel is what your in-game avatar is using, it's awesome, right? But back to the first issue. And that is what to do with keyboard strokes and not having to constantly lift your HMD up. And I'm going to link this program below, but it's called Voice Attack. And I've paid for it just because it has paid for itself. Literally, it's worth its weight in gold. Voice Attack allows you to bind joystick buttons or axis, right? Or macros even, keyboard strokes to voice commands. So what I mean by that is stuff that's not necessarily timing critical, because you wouldn't want to map something like fire button because you'd be constantly sitting there, fire, 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 and that would probably get pretty old, right? So the majority of stuff you map to your HOTAS, and then your non-timing critical stuff you map to Voice Attack. So stuff like lower landing gear, elevate flaps, all that kind of stuff. That's not necessarily too timing critical. And have Voice Attack do that. Between the two, you never have to take off your head-mounted display. You maintain that immersion throughout the whole experience, throughout the whole game, and it just adds so much to it. I did do a slight upgrade, and I'm going to talk about that, and I'll get in a little bit more into Voice Attack as well. So this was the Thrustmaster 4, and you know what? It was always nagging me. It was always there at the back of my mind. It's like, okay, it kind of feels like a toy. It's good. It's entry level. But I kept spying the X52 Pros from Saitek. And that is this behemoth here. That's the flight stick paired with its throttle. And you can see the LED lights in there. Users of this affectionately call it, the Christmas tree lights, because it's red and green. It's what it looks like, right? And so I purchased this, and one of the things when I purchased this, obviously the sales guy could tell I was concerned, right? Like, if I was going to like it or not compared to my other one. So he was upfront and just said, look, take it home for a week. If you don't like it, no hassles, no questions asked, just come and return it. Just keep it in the, keep the box there, whatever, blah, blah, blah. So I took it home. Needless to say, at the end of 7 days, I completely forgot about, that option to return it because I loved it so much, right? It takes that HOTAS experience to the next level. In Elite Dangerous specifically, this is the stick. They base the in-game rendered graphics for your flight stick and throttle in-game on. It was this stick, right? So again, you can see what I've done. So that is the Velcro there, and then I've got 4 Velcro circles on the throttle. And if you can see with the other camera, I'm going to point them out here, but there's 4 Velcro circles, and also on this side. And again, they are put in the exact same position as the in-game avatar. So when I look down and I move my stick forward, my in-game avatar moves the stick forward, right? Completely adds to the immersion. Just awesome. Can't praise it enough. It's so good. What I recommend is you take the fabric portion of the Velcro. That's the part that you stick to your desk, right? And that's because if you're eating a cookie or toast or just anything at your desk, it's easier to get out of the fabric than it is the tiny claws, right? So what I've done is the claw portion, which is smoother, is what's on the base of the sticks, right? And it's the fabric portion of the Velcro that I keep on the desks. The reason why I even mention this is not just because you're constantly lifting it off, but constantly lifting it off ruins the immersion, just like having to take your head-mounted display, right? So with these Velcro circles, I plunk it down. If I'm heading back on the throttle or forward, I'm not doing this to it, right? Lifting it off the desk. I was doing that an awful lot. Now I don't at all. So that's the second thing I recommend. The third thing is take the time to do your configuration. So get the majority of what these are designed for mapped in your game, right? So all your throttle thrust stuff, like there's vertical and horizontal thrusters in Elite. I've got those all on this 8-way hat switch. So I can forward thrust, or in a combat, I can forward thrust into a spiral, right? You know, while I'm on, you know, doing a roll on the stick, while I'm holding the hat switch to get bottom inertia thrust. So you can speed up your combat maneuvers side to side, up, down. It's just awesome. And I haven't even got to the aspect of this stick where you can program it for different things. I haven't needed to. So at its bare, out of the box, simplest, it's, you know, using the presets that Elite Dangerous offers, tweaking those presets to match your requirements, and then pairing that with voice attack. So I'm going to put voice attack in the description below. Again, I'm not quite sure with the commercial version. There is a free version. I believe one of the limitations is you can't use voice packs. And these voice packs are awesome. So there's some notable sci-fi actors that do these. And one example is Tom Baker. He is the 4th Doctor of the classic series of Doctor Who, you know, with the long scarf. So he does all the voices for an artificial AI called Midnight. And then there's Astra, done by another voice actor. And we're talking thousands of words of dialogue. Like literally, they're programmed with like a small novel. You can also ask wiki, encyclopedic information for the game to your AI. So you could say, tell me about Saul, and it'll tell you about the Earth world. Tell me about, you know, political faction X. It tells you, the AI will talk to you about political faction X. So it really feels like you're using this futuristic spaceship while it's freeing you up from the keyboard and immersing you further into the game. So super highly recommend that. If you've got any questions, let me know in the comments below. If you want to see a specific video on the controller themselves or just on voice attack, I'd be happy to do that. But in the meantime, like I said, I'll put the links below. And as always, guys, until the next video, cheers.